Right, we are live. Welcome to Toaru Talk number 2. And today we're going to be talking about New Testament, amongst other things, I imagine. We are now joined by Lucas, who is new to the stream. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, yeah. Well, as I said, I'm Lucas. Some may know me from Twitter or Discord. Yeah.
And how long have you been a fan of Index, Railgun?
Since like late 2020. Basically joined the fandom right after I watched it.
So, like, during COVID, basically, were you, like, watching, like, other anime at that time as well? To waste time?
Index was actually like my third anime I ever watched. I saw it I saw Railgun randomly on Netflix one day.
What the hell, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, because usually people who get into, like, Toaru have seen, like, quite a few anime before getting into the series. Or, yeah, they would just, like, around the time when it was popular, when it was, well, more so than it is now, at least. You know, like, the early 2010s. But, yeah, that's wild. Good choice. And you've read up to GT9 as well?
Yeah, after a long year of reading Index every day, I was able to catch up. And I've been doing so ever since.
Damn, that is dedication. How long did it take you to catch up?
Basically a year.
Oh, okay. But yeah, that's pretty good. It took me, like, I don't know, 9 months or so to get up to, like, New Testament 15. I think that was the latest volume that was coming out at the time. Back in, oh god, I'm showing my age now. When was that? I think that was like 2014, 2015, maybe. Someone could correct me. I can't remember the exact date when NT15 came out. But yeah, and we're also joined by Void Hero and Shiro. Welcome, guys.
Oh, what's up? It's me, the Neo Void Hero. Glad to
Hey, Aeon. Thanks for having me again.
Oh, my
Excited
pleasure.
to talk about New Testament this time. Yeah.
Yeah.
New Testament is easily my favorite part of the series, and I'm stoked to talk about it today.
Yeah, same. I'm just going to adjust the Discord icons so you fit in the nice box with the cool layout. There we go. But yeah.
Also, we have a surprise cat in the surprise guest in the form of my cat. If you hear her purring, hey, she's just on my lap chilling.
Is it Sphinx or the cat named Dog? Which one does it look most like?
Oh, which one is it most like? Very needy black cat that constantly wants attention.
Okay, then it's Dog, or whatever people call it. I like to call it Dog because that's what Misakamoto calls it.
Dog or Schrodinger.
Yeah, she suggested, like, Napoleon as well, I think, and amongst other unusual names, which is kind of funny. I do like the little moments in Railgun S where you get Misakamoto and Mikoto, like, just having the quirky slice of life moments, like arguing over stuff, like the ice cream man. I think the ice cream man scene's goated. I think that's an underrated scene.
Schrodinger is the best name, by the way, for the cat.
Oh yeah, Schrodinger, of course. Yeah. I was trying to think of, like, the other names.
You can't really beat Schrodinger. It's up there.
Mm.
It's the 8th level 5. I mean, yeah, I just, as you know, read New Testament 11, and also, between the lines, got introduced to Mr. Dog. So, you never know. Maybe my cat's sentient in that way, too.
Yeah.
You never know.
I mean, Mr. Dog is awesome. He does appear in New Testament 7, actually. But I think it's been a while since you've read that volume, Void.
Yeah, probably a few months.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, why don't you share your experience with New Testament? I'm aware you haven't fully completed it, but, like, what do you think of it right now? And what do you expect to happen in the future?
Well, when it comes to New Testament, there's a lot of stuff about it that I kind of know, kind of don't, mainly because I've been spoiled to the game about a lot of crazy stuff that happens. I know about Dragon Shell Toma, though I don't know his context. Platinum Wing of Cell, though I don't know his context. Karanzan, though I don't know her context. Like a lot of stuff like that, which has been really enjoyable to play within the game. As for what I've read to, I basically am still at the start. Only got past chapter 1 of New Testament 11. Oh boy, that was a ride. And then before that, I pretty much read from the start all the way through. And I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I definitely think it is far better than Old Testament. Again, I haven't actually read the actual books itself, but going from the anime, New Testament is on a whole nother league. And there was a lot of arcs I liked. A few arcs like Baggage City that I was like, what is going on? But I came to even like that one with Marilyn Slim Jr. She was fun. Peak character Thor was introduced in New Testament, of course. Birdway is pretty fun. And yeah, with the treat of starting with New Testament 11, learning a little more about Dog, knowing what I'm getting into, seeing that Misaki's getting chased by this crazy group with pile bunkers. All right. Yeah, so I've had a blast. I know there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to, and I am excited to keep reading it. But as I said in the last stream, favorite arc, it's still Hawaii Invasion. It's nothing speaking that for me for a while.
The one person who loves it.
Not a hard to take in my life.
I think I've seen someone else who loves it, but maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe
well,
it's
I'm
not that
exaggerating,
good.
but it's never usually someone's favorite arc. But no, I like the fact that people like even the ones that aren't regarded as peak fiction or whatever adjective you want to use to describe the best arcs in Index.
I mean, part of my love for it really just comes from Roberto. That guy, peak president, peak character. Honestly, on my list of favorite Toaru characters, he's got to be top 5, and that's completely honest. We got Mugino up there, Alistair up there, him up there, Toma's dad because that's funny, and of course Agami Pierce. Got some crazy people up in that list.
Wow, yeah. New Testament 3. That was the beginning of the siege against Gremlin, and obviously we know about the upcoming arcs after that. And I think I actually just reread the arcs after New Testament 3 yesterday. I read volumes. I had volume 4 half read before, but I read volumes 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 actually. And I came to really appreciate how much Kamachi actually put into all of these Gremlin designs. We took a completely different shift from the Christianity theme from Old Testament and implemented Norse mythology with characters resembling, or at least trying to use the abilities of the Norse gods. And I think it is definitely a good, an interesting twist, and it had a lot of room for engagement in the story. And I think I do think that once New Testament 9 hit and everything about Gremlin kind of stopped mattering, but I still thought that these characters were really well implemented in the story, especially with just their unique abilities that no one in the Old Testament had the same abilities.
Yeah, I feel like Kamachi definitely steps the game up with the abilities of some of these magic side characters. Sure. I think they just get more batshit crazy the more you read the New Testament.
Sandrillion's the first example of literally the first gremlin antagonist, she's based off of Cinderella, and she can break your ankles without a ball, without ankle
That makes me
breaking you.
wonder. Yeah, that makes me wonder because we know. Oh, sorry. It makes me wonder because, like, we know Cinderella is a fictional character. Wouldn't
Right.
she have been better as a transcendent rather than a member of Gremlin? I don't know.
True, but yeah, well, that's a topic for a different time, I think.
That's a topic for the GT one, but yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like we already know Void's favorite volume. What are your favorite volumes, Aeon and Lucas?
If I begin, it might also be a strange take, but my favorite volume is NT15.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Aeon, is that an even more unique take than New Testament 3?
Maybe. I think because it's in the Kamisato saga or series of arcs, you could say. But at the same time, I feel like NT15 has probably more impactful moments than NT3, in my opinion. But I think I'd probably say NT15 is probably one of my favorite out of the Kamisato arc. Apart from NT14, of course, unless you count 13 as well.
My favorite was NT14 in the Kamisato arc. So
yeah. I mean,
and I feel like, yeah, you can continue. My bad.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. I feel like there are like some criticisms you can have of NT15, which are warranted, especially with how it follows up, because I feel like it did have a lot of promising things about it with Misuka's development, which just didn't seem like it went anywhere, and we're still kind of waiting if that will transpire, but most likely not ever.
Yeah,
but who knows?
I do have some slightly differing opinions on Misa Misa in GT, but it's obviously not the time to bring it up. So
yeah,
I feel like Aeon, I have a feeling our two favorite volumes are going to be the same in New Testament. So okay, I'm gonna guess your first favorite volume is going to be 18.
Probably. It's tough because there are a few volumes that I really love, and it's hard for me to like place one above the other. But if we were talking about like favorite and where it's like subjective opinion about what is most impactful to me, regardless of like, how many plot holes does this volume have, how much filler content is in it, I'd probably say maybe 18 is probably my favorite overall, just because I thought the Alistair backstory thing just blew me away. I thought that was really well written.
No,
of course, like, yeah, you can criticize 18 for like the Misa Misa parts and that. Don't get me wrong, but if it's on like pure favorite, then that. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, to be honest, the Misa Misa part, I do agree. The liquid proof railgun could have been, a bit not there, but like that's such a small part of the volume to me. Like to me, it doesn't really matter. So, New Testament 18 is my second favorite volume in New Testament. My first is New Testament 21. So, I actually had the rankings finalized for a while now, and I reread New Testament 9 last night to see where I would rank it, right? And I settled for 3 for New Testament 9, and New Testament 21 being my favorite.
Yeah, I was going to mention NT21 because that's like one of my top 3 favorites of New Testament, along with NT9, of course.
Yeah, we basically have the same top 3, I guess.
Good taste.
Yeah, but I think...
Well, we're the boring ones. we're not as interesting as Void and Lucas.
When you have the goats, it's just kind of there. It's like, do you not like LeBron? Well, it's a bit boring if you say my favorite basketball player is LeBron, but it's LeBron.
Oh, well, yeah, I get that. Oh, I do have a hot take. I think NT12 is also one of the best NT volumes.
Oh, okay, no, I disagree with that. I definitely do enjoy NT12 that much, but
I've only read it once, but I'm a sucker for NT12. I think it's really good.
Very underrated.
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you'll bring up. It's obviously the fact that like Tomas still has the PTSD bit in New Testament 12, and it makes him more interesting in that volume.
Yeah, that's one moment, but yeah, it's not.
It
doesn't dwell on that for long. Yeah.
I know, but to me, that was one of the moments in the volume that actually really elevated Toma there. But the problem is, I don't think they. Well, I mean, I guess I was expecting a completely different type of bout. I was expecting like some sort of magic gotch type beat, but it turned out to just be Saint Germain. But and I do think like Kano Shinka wasn't really necessary. After rereading the volume like what 5 times now, because I've reread New Testament like 5 times, so I don't know. I don't feel like he was that. He didn't click for me. He didn't click. I'll just say that.
I don't know, because I feel like he's the integral part of the volume. He's almost the main character of that volume, and I think
He was.
I think that's like because after the Orphaness arc, Kamachi becomes a lot more experimental, especially when it gets to the Kamisato stuff. And I feel like NT12 is his experiment of doing the hero's journey with like a pretty ordinary character who is trying to like pretend he's something greater than he actually is, and then he comes into contact with actual heroes that he initially blames because he gets manipulated, and then he pretty much overcomes his own identity dilemma that he has, similarly to like how Toma had his identity problems, and then he pretty much embraces who he is and moves on from the past. I think it's a great story.
I have understood that, but I feel like if they were gonna do something like that, I think one volume wouldn't be enough to make me fully click into it, because I think he could have used a bit more. That's just me.
If he was like gonna be a main character, then maybe, but I don't know. I feel like you pretty much complete his story in one volume, which is probably welcome because everyone criticizes Kamachi for like, oh, he introduces characters and then he never makes them show up again. But if you like have a character and they have like a full circle development arc in one volume when they don't need to appear again, because no one's crying out for Kono Shinko to appear. I mean, yeah, it'd be cool to see him like in a cameo scene, like Etzali in GT or whatever, just showing up or being mentioned in one line.
Pretty sure
although I don't think many people are happy about that, but that's another story. But you know what I mean? Like his character's pretty much done, so it's like, okay, Kamachi, you don't need to have him. So I don't know.
True, I get what you mean with like one arc done characters, but
yeah,
and in this case he was the main focus, so I do get that.
Yeah, also making like Frenda more important, or well, I don't want to say more important, probably more impactful with her death, even though it's already happened. But
yeah,
Kamachi did improve her character.
I feel like I like Frenda more after the item volumes quite a bit.
Frenda will never die.
Speaking of experimental volumes, what do you think of Agitate Halation?
Me or someone else? I'll let someone else speak,
anybody,
to be honest.
Anybody.
Yeah. I've like gone on long enough. I'll let someone else speak.
NT7 is certainly one of the weirdest one in the first half of NT, because like the first and second half is a completely different story.
Yeah.
The first half is basic. He's like John Wick with Chimikado.
Yeah.
And the second half is, I don't even know how to describe it.
It was absurd. I read it last night and I was just like, holy, like what is going on? Why did they switch it up so much? And I have to admit, John Wick Mikado was pretty entertaining to read initially, but I think they kind of lost the plot with me in the second half. Not as in I didn't get it, but as in like why? Like, you know what I mean?
I know that when I read it, which I did forget that name, so I'm glad I let you guys remind me first. But yeah, I was actually a big fan. Now I realize now that I'm a very chill reader, and part of the reason I liked New Testament so much, as I realized, is because there seems to be a lot more overarching plots, not just one-off villains. And when there is one-off villains, they're like super in-depth. And like Sushi Mikado, I guess, was an example of that. I've been wanting to see more of him since Old Testament for ages. He was such a cool, fun character that I love. I love always making the joke with his design that he's the cooler Toma in that yearbook meme. Uh, but yeah, him going like full power, doing this crazy stuff. Not even like full power, but like fully utilizing his arsenal during that arc was really cool and expanded upon. If we didn't have any of this crazy stuff, all right, he would be a pretty overpowered character in like a more, down to earth series and stuff. Of course, half of his gimmick is magic, so you still need magic for him to do it. But I mean, magic's just regeneration. You could probably throw him another series and he'd do pretty darn well. And I think him being a down to earth character who, yeah, gets bodied by the stronger characters, but still being, that hurdle, the fun one, and his personality, yeah, I think he's great. And my favorite thing about that volume was expanding upon his, I guess it's adopted sister, about like with his cover story and getting a little more into his backstory. And I was down to learn more. Honestly, it was great. Love my man.
I agree. That was my favorite bits of the volume as well. But I mean, I wish they didn't like swap it from John Wick Tsuchimikado midway. Like I had have preferred if it was John Wick Tsuchimikado the entire way through. Unironically,
so
I agree.
It is what it is. Like it's such an interesting experiment too. On paper, it turns everybody who's quote unquote a hero. Maybe it has something to do with the archetype controller too, which it probably did, like the hero archetype to fight each other. And on paper, it's an interesting concept, but I think the execution could have been quite a bit better.
It has Kikina. I was completely happy with it.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Kakine and Toma fight together. That's probably the second best thing about the volume outside of Tsuchimikado, Kakine and Toma. Just pretty raw.
That was so big. When I originally read through the series, Rhinoceros Beetle 05, another one of those like peak wholesome characters that I'm like, sure, he's just basically a robot breaking free of the programming through a loophole. But isn't that the brilliance of like, I don't know, governments and all that stuff finding the loophole? So he does that, but he does it to be wholesome. And then he literally beats Kakine by becoming sentient. And I think not only is that such a flex on his part, but then becoming like Kakine, of course, and then helping out Toma was absolutely great. That is one of those moments I'd love to see animated. But even besides that, to my knowledge, that was the first time having pretty much all level 5s in one area in the main series, unless Old Testament did some stuff. And so that alone just had me excited the whole volume, because I'm like, it's them all. They're all here. My boy Gunha. I know he had his extra volume before, but just seeing my lad here with everyone else, that was great.
Yeah, definitely. I thought the Beetle 5 taking over Kakine was a very interesting and bold plot development. I think it's very non-standard. It is very unique, and I'm all for it. I think Kamachi is brilliant when he did that. But I don't know how Lucas thinks, though. What do you think, Lucas, as the Kakine endurer? Did you like that, or did you not like it?
The thing with Kikina is in NT6 that at that point, him continuing like he wasn't really an option, and Kamachi had to deal with him in some way. I think like using Beetle and Takitsubo, which many people ignore, that the reason the Beetle got free is probably because of Takitsubo. It's a very I liked it. I liked like making Kikina a better person, or like by literally killing off his bad parts. But I just wish that Kamachi would have used him later on more.
Yeah, so actually in Agitate Halation, it was stated that it's not only Takitsubo's influence, but also the fact that Firmea was target of the Agitate Halation that might have had an effect on Beetle 05 as well. So, interestingly enough, there's that to Agitate Halation, I guess.
if you see edgy titillation in the context of the Ichi Hanaran festival, it becomes like a better connection the second half of the volume.
Yeah, there is a connection. I definitely still don't think the volume's great, but you know, it's there.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I feel like Kamachi probably had to think about where he had to place, like, the end of Fremea's arc in terms of
Right.
her accepting her responsibility and becoming a hero herself, and then understanding, her power agitate halation. But yeah, I feel like maybe could have separated those, like the Motoharu, the spy drama, and then the Fumeya and Rensa stuff, and Yakumi Hisaka, all that. Maybe, I don't know, but...
And I think one thing that's interesting about Lucas brought up how Kakine would have probably won against Accelerator, but I think Rensa's Black Wings managed to overpower Dark Matter. So I think Black Wings might actually just like straight up counter Dark Matter. What do you think, Aeon?
Well, I mean, it's been shown. When Accelerator fought Kakina the first time, okay, he didn't really put much of a fight. He kind of like manipulated the vectors from afar and then just buried him and started tearing him to pieces. Yeah, but
in New Testament 7, like Rensa just blasted that shit at Kakine, and he couldn't get up, bro. He was down.
Yeah, it's interesting because Beetle 05 is kind of weird in terms that he can't really like mass produce himself like how the OG CAC could. So he's kind of restrained, doesn't really have the full dark matter network, I don't think. So whether that extends to like his ability to regenerate himself, well, he pretty much does regenerate himself after the fight, I think. Because he's later helping out fight the elements in the Kamisato arc and everything. But yeah, I can see it somewhat because those Black Wings have shown to be able to like do similar stuff to that. I guess. I don't know.
Another thing I think,
I think the reason that Beetle can't like reproduce himself or clone himself is because she fears that the original will come back, because like Beetle is the positive characteristic of Kina, while the OG is like the negative ones.
That's a good point. But I also think like Accelerator, he can just whip out the parchment and sing the song, and then Kakine gets nuked. I was thinking maybe if push comes to shove, Accelerator could pull out the parchments. So yeah, I do think base Accelerator against Kakine takes it, especially with the choker limitation. So.
Oh yeah, that's a very big nerf, and I do think that it's a funny like concept of like, hey, Beetle's losing the fight. Oh, don't worry, just summon the devil in the form of your other half. All right, he'll body whichever enemy, except when he got bodied by Arthenis, but that's a whole different thing.
Volleyball.
Kikina is cursed by only fighting the strongest people around.
Yeah, he's kind of like in Jujutsu Kaisen, right? He's kind of like that volcano guy, right? That he's not weak, he just happens to be like fighting the strongest every arc. So he just gets to be the laughing stock of the series. And I think it's great, but I do like times when he shines. And he and Beetle 05 happen to be two characters that, if there's one big thing about me, it's that I play Imaginary Fest. And one of the cool things is that I see these characters ahead of time, and he happened to be a character that I saw before getting into New Testament. Same with my boy Baikama. And just seeing where it came from definitely helped elevate it for me, and that's why I think some light spoils can be pretty cool, because it builds up hype getting to it. I think Arthenis was the same way as well. Honestly, though, in terms of Arthenis, I learned that from Aeon's way older video about it, and then I was like, oh my god, Gungnir. I think this is before I read New Testament, but I was like, Gungnir is in Toaru, because at this time I was getting real obsessed with Norse, and specifically Gungnir, since I played Shin Megami Tensei 5, which just made me love Odin. But I hear that and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta read this. So I'm definitely one who, he hears a few spoilers and I just get excited for what's to come. And I don't know, I'm vibing New Testament 11, and preferably going forward, I'm just gonna have some fun with it. Enjoy it. It's a blast.
You're at the right channel to get spoilers. Trying to dodge them like the Matrix for some people.
I know. I do think some light spoilers could motivate people to read more. At the same time, the line between a light spoiler and a major spoiler is very thin. So
come on, guys, read the light novel. You can see Ophidius kill everyone. Yay!
Oh,
I mean, a major spoiler that makes me excited for Genesis Testament. I saw Aeon's video about the Dragon King being fully summoned in his body, and yeah, I haven't reached Genesis Testament, but no way I's gonna skip on that video. It's a Toma Dragon power. I have to. And the same with Dragon Shell Toma. I don't know the context, but just knowing it exists just makes me excited.
Yeah, definitely. I like how you brought up, Dragon King Toma, because that iteration of Toma was so good. But of course, we're talking about NT, and I feel like to get to that iteration of Toma went through a lot in New Testament before he had a lot of character development, obviously, and obviously we had 22 Reverse 2 with the Dragon Shell, and obviously we just had a really long journey with Toma in New Testament. And I feel like coming in before New Testament, I wasn't the biggest Toma fan, but I think New Testament really put it in a way that I see more. I understand Toma more after New Testament, a lot more, and that's because of New Testament 6 and 9 that really put it into perspective for me before I really understood his character. What do you think, Ayan? What are your favorite Toma volumes or Toma moments in New Testament?
I mean, there's the elephant in the room, which is the Ophidius Arc stuff. Yeah, I mean, Old Testament Toma is an interesting case. A reason why I'm talking about Old Testament Toma is because I want to compare it to New Testament Toma. Because, out of the three main heroes, Toma develops the least in Old Testament. And he's kind of samey a lot of the time, because he's trying to be the person he imagines Kamijo Toma is. And it's not until Fuyama is introduced. Well, I guess you get it a bit with Tero, where he's like, "Oh, you must be lying to this girl on the phone because you must not remember things." There's that, but until Fuyama's introduced, where he's the one who actually does properly try to expose Toma, where Toma has to think, "Oh, am I actually doing the right thing with how I'm handling my relationship with Index by lying to her about my memory loss and everything." So there was that, but it didn't really flesh it out fully or go to the heights that you do see in New Testament, where you pretty much do get a deconstruction of Toma's identity, who he thinks he is, and you really get to see that Kamijo Toma is. He might be the hero who lectures the villains in the series, but that doesn't mean he's always right, or his logic and way of doing things doesn't have any flaws. I don't think Kamachi's trying to say that. Even in Old Testament, you can say, Toma, you're acting a bit preachy there. You're going a bit too far with how you're acting. I get what you're trying to say, this person, Sherry Cromwell, or name your typical Index villain. They're not doing a great thing here, but you're acting very morally righteous, and you're taking this savior complex a bit too far with how you're handling your life. You're behind on school. You're doing it for the greater good, but you're putting yourself in a lot of danger, and you're neglecting your own self. you're not probably getting enough food. You can barely pay the bills. You're behind on your studies. He's not really living a good life, but he makes sacrifices to save others and save the world at times. But yeah.
No, you can continue first because I want to add.
Oh no, I'm rambling.
Yeah, so that was exactly what I wanted to bring up too, because we always see these characters in media, these heroic characters, these selfless individuals, and then we sort of see them as admirable, right? We see them that they are what we aspire to be. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't see Toma as one of those motivational characters that we could try to be, but the implications of you're willing to sacrifice everything you have, put yourself in so much danger every time you go out to save someone you maybe don't even know. It's kind of not human, you know what I mean? And I think this is the thing that Birdway actually brings up in New Testament 6 that kind of made me made me get him more, is when Birdway just straight up says, "You're crazy." And it's because back in New Testament 2, we know that Birdway has analyzed a lot of world leaders and knows essentially what the gists are of what they would do in certain situations. And she has a good read on Accelerator and Hamazura. But in Toma, she doesn't really get that. She doesn't know what are you thinking, right? And that's probably because no world leader that has Toma's mentality is still alive. Like, they're all probably dead, right? They're all probably already gone with the wind because they tried to do something too selfless and, too dangerous and got them killed. And the craziest bit in New Testament 6, which elevated the volume so much for me, was the analogy of when Birdway said he's basically cutting pieces of his flesh to feed people. And then Toma said, I'd be fine with that if you were just transparent with me from the beginning. Like, if you used me from the beginning, I would be fine with that. And Birdway just says, what the hell are you saying? Are you insane? And this part of the reason why I think that it's probably... This is going to sound crazy, but it's probably easier to find people that are like Accelerator than it is to find people like Toma, because Accelerator was in Old Testament was essentially a child with no responsibilities and in an environment that regurgitated awful behavior. Meanwhile, no one in their right minds would always be willing to, put in so much effort, put in sacrifice, and ignore their own well-being to save other people. And for Toma, he continues to think this way because to him, he never died. He just kept living. And then, of course, in New Testament 3, 4, he had the bad streak where he took 2 fat L's when Hawaii was getting wrecked. Bagger City, people died. And that was when he was like, I still want to help. Birdway, you should have just told me that you wanted to use me even more. I'm just like, that's so crazy to me. And I mentioned in the beginning how we were idolizing these archetypes, like the hero archetypes. But then when we put it like that in New Testament 6, we start to shift the perspective. Like, these people are not exactly normal. Like, something's wrong with them, you know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that gets really elaborated on even more in New Testament 9, obviously. But I think just that hint, the drop was there since New Testament 6. And I think that's what made Toma so much... I understand Toma so much more after that conversation. And to this day, New Testament 6... I just reread it yesterday too, but New Testament 6 is still one of my favorite volumes. I still think it's such a brilliant scene. Especially Birdway just saying, "You're insane." That was the peak of the volume to me.
Yeah, I get what you're trying to say with the Accelerator thing, because it's just like a child who's been neglected of love.
Yeah. And like, if everyone's doing it, like, why would he think it's wrong? Because everyone's doing it, and
they're justifying it for him. Yeah,
they're manufactured clones, right?
It's like, when you get child soldiers in war throughout history, they're just told, oh yeah, these are the bad guys. They're monsters trying to kill you and your family when they're actually human beings. And I know it's slightly different because it's not like defend your country kind of thing or whatever, but it's same principle applies, that these clones aren't human beings. They're not real. They're just masses of flesh that look human but aren't, and that's easy to drill into someone who is vulnerable and who doesn't have like a family, because then you kind of look up to the authority of adults, thinking they know what they're talking about. They're older than me, so you're more likely to trust their judgment, especially when you don't have a family figure, I imagine. Because Accelerator had no one. So
and to add on to the clone idea, like imagine you want to eat a steak. Does the cow want to die? Like, does it know it's gonna get its head chopped off and like its meat distributed to people to be eaten? No, like if they don't have the capability to understand that, but if they knew, they wouldn't want to, right? And then these clones, though, they're willingly dying for the experiment, and that's the thing that probably like convinced Accelerator even more. Like, they're willing to die, so like why they're just clones, you know what I mean?
Well, Accelerator isn't really convinced of it. He isn't sure.
Yeah, obviously no, he's not completely 100% convinced, but when everybody, the environment is regurgitating the idea that is how it is, then he's, he just accepts it, even if
he's also given the promise of power, which you can harken back to many stories, modern and classic, about the corruption of power, because he's promised, you'll get to the level 6, which he believes will solve all his problems, and that can be, compared to like Lord of the Rings with the One Ring, thinking that will turn you into a godlike being, when it actually won't, and it'll just corrupt your soul.
Yeah, and then we know why Accelerator can what would the circumstances surrounding Accelerator's actions, right? Meanwhile, Toma, though, what are you doing? Why are you throwing your life away for random people? And just that's the part that's kind of crazy to me. It's a real deconstruction of the trope, because I feel like you would see, our world is not perfect, obviously. We could see people grow up in messed up situations, like maybe like Accelerator did, but not a lot of people would be willing to lay down their lives like what Toma would do on a daily basis. Like, very few people. That's why I'm saying, you might as well find more Accelerators than Tomas in reality, and that's what makes Toma so rare. And that's what makes, it's a deconstruction of the trope, obviously. Like, no one really goes into, not a lot of characters go into this level of self-sacrifice and selflessness. But I think it's good that they balanced it out with New Testament 9 and how they explored it later on.
Yeah, I just want to say the last bit about Toma before I let other people speak. Because, I think Kamachi, Toma is the driving moral force of good in the story, but, he doesn't mean he's flawless, and you can take moral messages from him and apply it in real life, to be more selfless, but at the same time not forgetting to look after yourself, because yourself is important as well. And I think that's the whole point of NT9 and 10, to realize your own self-worth and not neglect yourself. And then fast forward to NT22R, I think it's interesting that Toma is the one who, we know him as the guy who won't kill. Usually, I mean, he had thoughts about killing the Aureolus dummy in OT2, but he was like, no, I shouldn't. And then that harkens to the Sisters arc, where he does care about the artificial life of the Sisters. But the way I see it, he's basically killing himself. I mean, he thought about killing himself in NT9, but he already, because KNT's represents his previous identity, because KNT has all of his memories, and he's already kind of destroyed that version of himself to focus on who he wants to become and the best person he possibly can be. And then he sees KNT with all these memories, and who is using these memories to manipulate others, believing it is the true Toma. And he's like, I don't care about that anymore. I'm going to kill the past and embrace who I want to become. And I think that's the meaning behind him
Yeah.
killing KNT, like destroying his previous identity for good.
Yeah, that was something I noticed as well. Like the only other time he tried to kill anybody was obviously himself. And I mean, you could bring up how Aureolus is a foil to Toma, and Aureolus dummy is the dummy of that. So Toma tried to quote unquote kill a foil of himself too, but that one's a bit more convoluted. But yeah, definitely this one is like Toma's trying to kill himself again.
Yeah, I'll let Over speak now.
You've had a lot to speak.
Yeah, there's so much to say about this. Like, this is what I mean when I say Index is deep. there's so many moral messages and things you can say. So.
Yeah,
That's what I
think.
Yeah, you go.
All right. So I do think on a lot of those things, and it is stuff that I've thought about personally. Toma was definitely a character that I agree that got way better with New Testament, and I kind of forgot about that as I was reading through it and how I felt because it's been a while. But I remember in the anime, I would like Toma as a character more in Railgun than in Index itself, which was so funny. And I think it was just because I saw him less as like a character that I liked and more of like his power was cool. And the concept of his power, like all about that. And it wasn't until New Testament, and I think when I really started liking Toma's character was actually after Birdway's betrayal, where she basically shot him and stuff. Like that was so out of left field for me. And that's when I started like fully looking into Toma and actually enjoying him more as a character. And in that same vein, it made me look back on Accelerator as well, which, yeah, Accelerator's changed to good. I do think it was inevitable because he is always a good boy, just, in a very bad situation. And he wanted his power to literally not hurt people because I'm guessing they always saw him as, the strongest. So you want to prove yourself, you want to prove your might. And the fact that he never went out of his way to hurt people just sort of showed that, he's an innocent boy who didn't want to hurt anyone. And the only reason why he killed the sisters, of course, is because he was forced into thinking that they weren't important. Had he had like the mindset of Toma and stuff, I don't think he ever would have done that. And to show that he's even more of like a morally good person, he accepts his sins and he wants to pay for them. He wants to atone. He really is just a wholesome white-haired boy or silver-haired boy. And in a way, he doesn't really feel self-righteous. He feels more like what you would call a traditional hero. A person who tries their best, but sometimes sacrifices happen and they're not perfect like a superhero, but they try to be whatever they can. And he tries to fix the world from behind the scenes. And to some extent, so does Hamazura, but I definitely think he embodies the tragic hero really well. Whereas Toma, he's another type of tragic hero, of course, but a different spectrum of that. And I think having all of the main characters be like different dissections of the different types of, I guess, not even necessarily hero, but just noble person, and how, they're not necessarily letting their past control them. It shapes them a little bit, but they're trying to be the best people that they can be and, working with what they got. And I just love the brilliance of those characters and how they're balanced like that. And I definitely think that New Testament just has a lot of those big moments that has everyone step up, It even has Hamazura step up into the bike and actually take center stage. I mean, before, he was still doing stuff for sure, but I figured New Testament, it had him get out there and like actively protect people and actively get a focus. And it's part of the reason that I actually loved start in New Testament. It allowed Toma to sit on the back foot before his major arcs, and it allowed us to re-examine the main characters, which I found very enjoyable. See them beyond just the funny, crazy dragon power, beyond just the, well, whatever you call Homazura. It was stuff like that really got me into New Testament. That's going to get me into Genesis Testament. We'll see. That I don't know. It's something that I think we have more that just Railgun I feel didn't have. I love Railgun, but if I said Makoto and Railgun had as much character development as New Testament Toma, or even just Accelerator's entire arc, I'd be lying.
Yeah. And yet, the Railgun onlys want to tell you, oh, Railgun is the best thing about the Toaru franchise. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. I'm sorry. I love Railgun S, I love Railgun T, but legit. It's as you said, because it's like, oh yeah, people who like Toma usually like Toma in Railgun, and it's like, yeah, you just said, oh yeah, you think his power's cool. And it's like, yeah, Toma's cool in Railgun. He has his quirky moments, he's not in your face all the time. He shows up. He's got some badass moments and that. But it never goes further than that. It's always like surface level. Oh, he's cool. He's badass. Blah, blah, blah. It's never something deep, as in going into his identity and the whole fucking point of his character.
It's almost as if Railgun SNT is only good because of Toma.
Oh, I don't know about that, but...
No, that is a joke. That's a joke. But
okay, fair.
The two best
you got me.
Railgun arcs are the arcs with Toma. Like, I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. I think the sisters arc in Railgun, I feel like it's I feel like it's the best rendition of the sisters arc. I do know that in the light novel, I mean, I read the light novel like 3 times already. It has the details about the Eins of R, and I do think that's important once you get into lore. But in terms of as an experience, as like an experience you're watching right now, the sisters arc in Railgun is too good. It is genuinely too good. Just because of the direction as well, especially with the scene from the end of episode 5, the train drop scene. That was a perfect introduction to. If anyone wants to watch, that's actually like a really good introduction to the series. It gets you hooked right away. It's just like, snap. Boom! Now you have a reason to care for everything. That's fucked up. We have to do something about this. That's the level of suspense that we had in Railgun S, and I think they absolutely delivered in that season. Yeah.
That scene kind of makes Railgun season 1 worth watching, because
yeah, I agree.
Slice of life, little girls doing random bullshit, and then it immediately.
I always tell people, do it for season 2. Do it for season 2, and they did it. And the people who do it for season 2 always end up saying, holy shit, that was worth it,
Yeah, that was me and convincing my brother. That was a real fun ride getting to the more like peak stuff. But I mean, to be fair, he vibed with the slice of life as well, just because he wanted to have some fun, just have some joyous moments. But I do think that's another reason why I actually liked Toma and Railgun more. It's not just his powers, it's that we get a different perspective. There's just something with me that I'm obsessed with perspective. The more you get to show like a different point of view of the same event, I just end up liking it more. And seeing Toma from an outside point of view and what he does, I think is just really cool and really brilliant. And I think the way that Railgun does it does embody it the best, where it's like you never know what he's up to. He's a more mysterious character, but when he comes back in, he's got this like mysterious power, and it's like, I don't know, he's so much more of a mysterious character that way. And if you were to watch that first before like seeing actual Index, you'd probably be really intrigued of his character. Then you get into Index and you're like, okay, just rotten luck this, saving the world that. But like it's really cool seeing him on the outside, and it's, I don't know, with those kind of cameos, it's equivalent to what I see as like a a spin-off series referencing the main characters. You have the grandiose story, but just seeing the grandiose story unfold from an average person's perspective, it's cool. You know something big is going on, but you don't know exactly what it is. And I figure, heck, that's even what Accelerator's introduction was. Something big. You don't know what it is, and I feel like that mystery is one of the best things that early Toaru has going for it. And I look forward to more stuff like that. But of course, you got Alistair and Veld and stuff, and it's like, oh boy, how are you gonna put that back in Pandora's box?
Yeah. So you nailed it with what I wanted to say about early Index too. Like the sense of mystery with each character, the sense of what are they doing right now. I like that about Railgun too. But I do think that once you read the OT novels, you will definitely like Tome a lot more, like insanely more.
We also got a dono for you, so I mean, Aeon.
Yes. JDFVA, thank you for Super Chat. Ironically, the Sisters arc in Index 1 got me to keep watching, and because of Railgun S, I became a fan of the series. I mean, yeah, I think Accelerator in Index Season 1 got many people to become fans, myself included. He became my favourite character, and then, obviously, when you... I mean, I don't want to call it a remake, but it is kind of... Because you do... I guess remakes, you are allowed to change some things. I guess because it's from like different perspective and has new scenes involving like item and from Misuka's perspective as well. But even if you just compare like the same scenes that are in Index to Railgun, it's just a vast improvement from the animation to the tone, atmosphere, direction. It's just all so much better, and it just makes me think, oh, if only all of Index was like that.
Yeah, I want to emphasize on direction though, because the direction for the Railgun S anime was so immaculate. Just the first scene introducing Accelerator was perfect. Like I have to say, Railgun S I think is the best anime adaptation of the franchise that we have.
Then the second half happens.
Yeah, let's pretend that does not exist. Okay, that never happened. That's not canon. Mikoto is out of character.
Literally,
is out of character.
It made me dislike February, bro. Because I'm like, I don't care about this.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I've been gassing up the first core so much that I forgot the second core exists. I mean, if you wanna include the second core, I guess I don't know. I don't know. I'll just say the Sisters arc parts were the best animated bits of Index.
And yeah, I do think another good thing about Railgun S is by portraying Accelerator in that way, sure, you don't break him down, you don't know his motives, but like you feel the danger. Like literally with how immediately like all our attacks get reflected, you start realizing that you see the guy as a boss. Before you saw him as like a kid with overpowered powers, now you see him as like a terrifying boss, and creates the reality that Accelerator was trying to create. He was trying to be that scary intentionally. And it makes him look so dangerous, and that is a vibe that goes away with Accelerator later on. Well, I think to some extent. Certainly he still has that. But being more wholesome and true to himself, he doesn't feel that dangerous, and he doesn't need to. But I don't know, that contrast definitely felt good. I could only imagine like what if he has platinum wings during that first encounter. Until the word fan fuck or my bad fan big thing. And you just have that scene again just with late term powers or something. I don't know. But just it was really cool, and I did really enjoy his portrayal there. It's the two faces. You got the two dogs in him, if you will.
Two dogs in him.
The wholesome and the ruthless.
It's crazy how much of an influence the Sisters arc has, even on the series up till now, because there there is just so much in that volume that is probably an Easter egg to uh the Kabbalah stuff. Honestly, like in New Testament 22, there are some clear, like, hidden references from Old Testament 3. Like, Aeon, did you ever catch the string of zero thing? String of zeros?
Remind me again, because I think so. Just explain it to me again.
So in, let me try pulling it up. But essentially in Old Testament 3, the way they described Ein Sof Ein Sof and Ein was using a string of zeros because
Yeah.
of course infinite, infinite, all powerful, and omnipresent, was it? I forgot the third characteristic, but essentially all of those could be kind of defined scientifically with zeros, because obviously, how do you define a concept as grand as a god, an infinite god, that you need to make it into a scientific term, which is obviously zero, because zero is infinite. So no matter how many zeros you have, it still adds up to zero, and then it's infinite, right? You can have as many of it as possible. So they said this in Old Testament 3, where Ein Sof, R, and Ein were described as a string of zeros, and all the way in New Testament 22, there was a statement by Will mentioning that string of zeros, and I would not have gotten this if someone had not pointed it out to me. I was just like, that's crazy. All the way in New Testament 22. And there is an even greater Easter egg. And honestly, Aeon, it makes me think that Alistair planned out like the exact amount of sisters that needed to die in the sisters arc.
Oh yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah, because do you know about the number thing?
The significance behind the number, like 10,000, or
Yeah, 10,000 in to reach Keter. And then there are 10 Sephiras and 22 lines running in between them.
yeah.
So if you add them all up, they become 10,032. And it's like, how do you even know? How do you even like think that far ahead? It's just so insane.
Now, here's a funny thing in terms of that with the tree that I know because of Persona, and a lot of these series just love to do the same concepts, and I love it. But in Toma, it shows comparison between the 22 paths and the 22 major arcana of the buff deck of the Fool's Journey, which, in its own right, you could probably put to some extent into Toaru, and I don't know how far to go, but like the fact that you could blend those cards into the series to some extent too, I'm sure, and like its connection, which now just makes me bridge Toaru and Persona. Make that Toaru mod in Persona one day. But
I remember that being mentioned in Persona 3 Reload.
Yeah, it was really cool, and then it just keeps going on the concept, and it's another cool thing about Index and these other series. They can teach you things, and boy, have I learned a lot of stuff about the Tree of Sephiroth and all that from all these series. So whenever I see it again, I'm like, oh my god, it's the tree! Or it's, it's the major arcana or whatever.
So another interesting thing to mention here is it's not only the major arcana sharing the same numbering as the paths between the tree, but also the amount of Hebrew alphabet, like Hebrew letters. There are 22 Hebrew letters sharing, the same amount of lines in between the Sephirah. And that probably leads me to believe there's more to it, but I don't understand Hebrew, so I can't really delve into it, so you know what I mean. It's interesting, though, once you really get into it, and you see, like, all of these numbers somehow add up to each other in a very peculiar way. So it makes me think that the way the Klonoth is structured is obviously so 10 souls in. Okay, let me preface this too, because in the Sisters arc and even in parts of Railgun, we were like what's the arc after the Indian poker arc? What's the name of the arc again? Sorry, what is it again?
Do you mean Doppelganger or Jailbreaker?
No, Dream Ranker. I meant Dream Ranker. Sorry.
Right. What? It wasn't that the end of that though. So that was
the end of like the last arc of season 3. I forgot. I think it's Dream Ranker, right?
Yeah, that's Dream Ranker.
So
I don't know the manga.
Yeah, we know there's a cyborg, and part of the conflict of that arc is trying to figure out if the cyborg had split their soul into 2 or if there's only one soul, right? And Railgun surprisingly has some interesting, maybe not exactly commentary, but implications on like what a soul is. And we actually the series actually goes into depth on like what a soul is and who has if the clones of Misaka have souls or not. And then that's kind of the questions that are being asked here, because obviously like was Accelerator just killing masses of flesh, or did they all have souls? And I think the more optimistic answer would be that they all had souls. And this is the type of conflict that has always been present in Index, but has been in the backseat. It's just always been there. The implications have always been there. And then, but when with the Will of the Misaka Network and stuff in New Testament, it kind of adds more credibility to the fact that each sister actually had a soul. And now, if I think about it that way, what if the Klonoth required that many souls in total, right? Like you just start to think you needed 10 souls for each Sephira. You needed 22 to connect all the paths, and you needed 10,000 souls to get to Keter. And it's like the Klonoth is a third tree, which is supposed to be similar to the Sephiroth. So when you put it that way, it feels as if Alistair specifically fine-tuned the amount of sisters needed for the Klonoth to actually work and for Accelerator to reach Platinum Wings. And when you think about it, when you theorize that way, it's so crazy to me. All the way from the Sisters arc.
I mean, we're talking about a guy who built a whole city for a young boy with Imagine Breaker in his hand.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking that guy, which, with that context, that was another brilliant part of the anime that I was just laughing the whole time. I'm like, oh my god, this is all staged. This is literally a city for Toma, which puts even more on that Railgun thing where I was like, Toma's part of a bigger picture. He literally is the big picture, but it's like, we're talking a guy who set all of this crazy stuff in motion. Like, it's, of course, I wouldn't put it past him calculating 10k sisters. If he'd need to, he'd probably just pump another 100k out of nowhere. He doesn't have to, but if he did, he could.
Yeah, he could.
That's a good theory, because it kind of also gives the Accelerator manga a purpose.
Yeah, I feel like that was the only purpose the Accelerator manga had, which is to introduce the idea of 10,000 souls to reach Keter. Like, the only thing I see that like Kamachi actually had an influence on in that manga was that one quote. Because like I think Kamachi was like, okay, I already had the 32 down because 10,032. I know that there's 10 plus 22. So this was like 2016 when the chapter was released, right? So you could argue that he did not think of this all the way back, like in 2005, 2004 when OT3 was released. But he definitely probably thought of this in 2016 when he started thinking like, how do I make it 10,000? Oh, okay, let's just add this. You need 10,000 souls to get there. And you're just like, suddenly, 10,032, voila.
What if
it's like
the amount of souls you need for a Philosopher's Stone?
Oh, yeah. So we actually have some theories about, Philosopher's Stone in Toaru as well. But I think that's a whole another discussion. Which is
That's
crazy.
awesome that we can have those theories, though.
Yeah.
So,
Void, I'm
very on a Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was surprised you brought up the plot point where Academy City is actually based off of Toma. Because initially, I wanted to discuss that on stream, but I was afraid that you did not know about that fact yet, and I didn't really want to spoil you on that. But when I was talking about NC-18, I think that is the plot twist that dropped me to my knees. Like, when I read that, I was just like, holy shit. Because that was when everything started to, like, click. That was probably my favorite, like, lore drop in the series. Like, just like, the entire thing was staged from the beginning for the wielder of the Imagine Breaker.
I mean, that's the brilliance of me watching it on videos. I did
Yeah, I
to
mean,
that too. But see what I
Too
mean? How
kind.
like that made me actually enjoy Old Testament more. Like literally, there are some spoilers that like because you want to rewatch the series or reread the series, which is why I'm gonna reread New Testament. I'm gonna finish it and then do Old Testament, the omnibus, and read it. But it is one of those things where Toaru's stuff is just the reveals are so cool and so groundbreaking that even if you get spoiled it, you still enjoy it and you still like recontextualize everything. So even though, yeah, I ended up learning a bit ahead of others and I didn't have that surprise, what I learned about it, I had already finished Old Testament 3, the Index 3. And so I still really enjoyed that reveal and then learning about Alistair's backstory and the sort of origin of Imagine Breaker, going through a lot of those old videos. Because, I mean, I was going to find that stuff anyway, since that was back when I was diving back into the series and I wanted to go full in depth, dive under the ocean, come out the other side in China or something. I just really did enjoy one of those twists, and I think that there's a lot more of those to come, or that I haven't been spoiled on. So I'll be excited to get into that.
yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I don't know. This is like the one case where I feel like if you read it yourself, you would be like jumping around. Because I actually got a friend to read Toaru with me. Like, we read the entire volume the entire series over the summer, all 50 volumes. And when he got to that scene, I was like right next to him, right? I knew he was about to get to it. And when he got to that scene, he literally jumped, bro. I was not kidding. He jumped and shot like, what the hell? I was just like, I knew which front he was on.
That is crazy, but and I'm sure I would have enjoyed it more. I just know that I was too excited to continue in on it, and also I just happen to be very bad at spoiling series. But I also happen to be someone who can like deal with spoilers. I pretty much accidentally spoiled the ending of Persona 4 because I watched the anime first. Literally watched someone play through 5 before I played the game myself, before I owned it. With Reload. Okay, not with Reload, but for 3, I accidentally watched like the ending like synopsis before playing the game. I have a bad habit of spoiling myself
that's
before
crazy.
it, but I still enjoyed each of them, and I think that's just a testament and proof to how strong these series are, including Toaru, that even with those spoilers, I still enjoy it, and I just turn it into a new reason to continue. And even the stuff I'm not spoiled about, like, sure, I knew that New Testament 11 was going to be a Misaki arc, but even just within the first chapter, I was blown away again. I mean, come on. The underground tunnels are now like pools. It's underwater. That's a cool setting. That should be in the open world game. Like,
Open world game, he says.
open world game.
The one that's
just
coming
like,
never.
It's
New
a world
Testament.
of-
New Testament 11 is interesting because in general Misaki is probably like the most contentious character we have in NT. Where everybody thinks something completely different.
True.
So it's the brilliance of it, in interpretation, and how everyone ends up having their favorite character because you got all that. And yeah, her like having the flashbacks exploring the different places, it's pretty cool. Excited to see what's in the tail end of that. we'll see.
Yeah, I did make like a Shokuho video a long time ago, which obviously isn't that good now because of the editing and voiceover and that. But yeah, I like the fact that in New Testament 11, it's not like showing the flashbacks for the sake of doing it. It is tying in with the plot in the present, and she is visiting like these places at the same time, which does give it more meaning rather than just dumping the flashbacks with no seeming reason why. Because some other series like Naruto will just like throw flashbacks at you, like Kunai, constantly throwing ninja star flashbacks at you, and then flashbacks within flashbacks, and it gets a bit too much.
Season worth of episodes and flashbacks.
Yeah, literally.
Aeon.
Literally.
Yeah. You still a stupid bitch though.
What was that?
Oh.
You were still a stupid bitch though.
Who's a stupid bitch? Me?
IU.
IU. I couldn't even hear what you said.
Stop this.
I couldn't-
No IU hate here, please.
Oh no,
Well-
we have an IU fan. Holy shit, we have to get out. We have to evacuate the premises.
Don't worry, because I'm making an IU video, and I should be uploading it today, hopefully.
Oh really? What a coincidence. Okay.
Yeah.
I
It's
remember,
basically
you know,
her life story of doom and gloom.
Truly.
I remember you shitting on IU in your Misaki video. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help it. She kind of sets herself up to be mocked, unfortunately. I mean, it's hard not to make fun of her, because I get that she's a tragic character and everything. But come on, like, some of the choices she makes are just baffling. And she clearly has some issues in the brain.
Yeah, IU is like Hamazura if he never helped himself.
Yeah.
Like if
She just
Hamazura
makes
never
everything worse.
tried-
Like, she never gets over the past, and she just makes everything worse. Like, even just the stuff outside, I don't know, the main plot with Shokuho. Like, if you look at her involvement in Astral Buddy, like, what the fuck is she doing?
Astral Buddy. We're bringing up mid now.
Whoa. Astral Buddy might not just make sense completely, but it's still good.
Yeah, I like Astral Buddy, but just I'm talking purely what she's hoping to achieve, like by trying to basically restore like the clone dolly experiment, and I don't get it, man. She's just trying to undermine Shoko's power. At least that's how I see it, by spreading like the Indian poker cards throughout the city. But she's just making it worse for herself, and then she doesn't learn. Like, I guess that's the point of her character. It's like her unwillingness to move on from the past, and then she gets trapped in a cycle of hatred, basically, and she just blames everyone else for her own failures, and she can't accept responsibility, and she can't move on and try and become a better person, which happens a lot of time.
The only time she really accepted responsibility with the experiment, when she decided that she herself shouldn't be getting the power boost, kind of led to everything getting worse as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd say that's a different... Oh, well, obviously she's the same character, but I feel like past IU, before like the Bayaka stuff, I feel that's a different IU to the psycho IU after she tries to take her own life. Because she's like, when we see those flashbacks of her, like when she first joins the Ideal Lab, she's really selfless. She's really like, she's basically the big sister. My voice cracks. Big sister figure for like the girls at the lab. She's looking after them. She, like you said, makes that decision to pull out the project, even though she really wants to become a level 5. Like, she's a really nice person, but it just shows you that if you get trapped in that cycle of hatred, and I guess she could have benefited from having support figures in her life, and who weren't like, again, people who wouldn't judge her just for her own ability and level. I feel like if she had more people around her, like Seigo, and I guess Toma, kinda, even though he doesn't really do much in Biohacker, I'd argue, if she had more people like that who valued her for who she is rather than looking at her level and power, then I feel like she would have probably stayed the same of how she was. But since she was just exposed to like constant failure and judgment because of that, she just went into a dark place and never really came out of it.
You know, I do somewhat like Toma in Biohacker. Like, I remember the scene where he kind of ran away from the dragon and was like crying about it. Like, why is he running away? He's a coward. I like that scene. It's such a contrast to what we have now that I feel like it's a good showing of where he came from. So
Also very mean. To some degree.
I don't know. I like that scene somewhat. Biohacker as a whole is kind of interesting though. When did Biohacker release again? Like NC15?
No. I think it came out a while after NT15 because it wasn't out when I caught up with the series. I don't know if when did it come out? That's a good question. Did it come out?
Come with the Railgun T release or something with the Blu-ray?
Yeah. Yes, you're right. It definitely came out with one of the Blu-rays with the Toaru project. Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, going back and looking at some of the old Biohacker stuff and like doing a video on IU has helped me kind of like understand her more once I've taken into account like all the scenes that she's been in and like how, well, what we've seen so far from her, I guess, because we don't have a full picture of her life, but we've seen the odd bits, and she might appear again in the item spin-off. Who knows? We'll get a bit more. But yeah, it's definitely helped me understand her. I think I probably like her a bit more now than I used to. I mean, in terms of her as a character, but I do think she has that beyond the. I guess she's a flawed character. It's similar to like how Shokuho gets hate for being a flawed character. IU is kind of same but more extreme because she basically fully embraces being a doomer yandere psychopath. Well, while Shokuho has some psychopathic moments, but they're not as frequent. But yeah, I get her character more, but yeah, I still have some reservations about her because I feel like she falls in love with Toma way too easily. I don't really get like any chemistry vibes from them in Biohacker. I feel like IU was acting like way too bratty towards him. I didn't feel like they truly bonded enough for IU to then like be that tilted that Toma doesn't arrive. But I guess she was just desperate, and obviously with people like her and her mental health condition, she could have like imagined something greater than what Toma was actually providing for her in terms of their relationships. Like she could have imagined, oh yeah, he cares about me, he loves me, like, but obviously it wasn't mutual. I guess she could have like exaggerated that in her head, which could justify it maybe, but I feel like you have to kind of like find out or think about multiple roundabout ways to justify it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, you know, when it boils down to it, like the three heroes, they throughout the story they just gain more responsibilities and they obviously mature, right? IU is like the one character in the series who just refuses to mature at all, like to take responsibility for anything. She's like, no, it's your fault that I've ended up like this, and she just like never tries to do anything about it.
Well, she does try to do something about it by ruining other people's lives.
Yeah, I wonder what she's doing at the moment in like, I mean past NT11, because she gets like put in a juvenile hall, I think, or arrested, imprisoned, whatever. I wonder if she's like having any self-reflection about what she's done or what happened to her in GT. I don't know.
Maybe she'll appear again someday.
Yeah, she'll show up with Kamisato, Fuyama, and all the lost souls that have disappeared into the wilderness.
Fuyama is strange because there are plenty of people that just believe that he's dead. That High Priest killed him.
Oh man, don't get me started on Fuyama. Like, come on, we need to find out. It's like it's weird because it's similar to Yuitsu in the way that their fate is ambiguous. Like, we don't know. We can imagine what's happened to them, but we don't know for certain like what their situation is at the moment. Are they dead? Are they alive? Or where the fuck are they? It'd be nice to know.
Is he just not living with Belarus and Sylvia and their 20 children?
Yeah, it's just like the exiled squad of Olorus. But come on, it's like, it's not as though we haven't had like a abundance of opportunities to show Fuyama, because we have, especially in GT. Like, we've had so many scenes in the hospital. Like, you could just show him in like one of the wards or something, or he comes out and he's just been there the entire time. But no, like, we don't know if the ambulance got to him. Well, we imagine it did, but what happened then? Did he go to hospital? Has he been discharged? Like, what the fuck is going on with him? I don't get it.
Yeah, I hear about that there's just a lot of big characters that just that just vanish to the wayside, go to jail or what have you in the later volumes. And I'm just like, I get it. You want to focus on newer characters, but like, come on. Fuyama had his moment of like, Hollister, I won't let you control Toma, and now he's just gone.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's worse with Fuyama, because Fuyama is basically the main villain of OT. I'm not including Alistair, because Alistair took more of a backseat. And Laura Stewart did as well. Like, he's the big bad at OT, so.
And he's one of the two main enemies of Openness in early NT.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't understand, like, a character that important and we don't even know what's the deal with him. Like, I can forgive the Yuitsu stuff. Okay, she was the main villain of her own arc, I guess, but I can't forgive Fuyama. I just like want to know what the... I'm not the only one as well. Like, I'm pretty sure most readers of the light novel want to know as well. And I don't get why Kamachi just can't have... Even if it's just one scene, I just want to know. It doesn't have to be an important character. It just shows one scene with him in, just to know, like, what his fate is. I mean, if he's dead, then that would be kind of disappointing, because it's like, you just kill off the main character. Well, not main character, but main villain of the original series off screen. And you didn't bother to tell us until now? Like... So he's got to be alive, surely. But it's like, if he is alive, then where's he at?
Maybe in Italy. Maybe he will just show up in GT10.
Yeah, maybe he's like gone back to the Catholic Church and he's asking Pietro Yogdis to let him in. I promise I won't form God's right seat again. I just want a home. Can I have my money back, please? I'm kind of homeless at the moment.
Don't worry. They're waiting for the climactic moment where all of the special hand users will team up, like some superheroes, like the Power Rangers, the Rainbow Hands.
Can I ask you guys a question? Because we have Imagine Breaker, we have Will Rejector, and those names, they're pretty similar, because they're like, oh yeah, it ends in like ER, so it's like Breaker, Rejector. There's another name which ends in ER, which is kind of similar. Do you guys know what it is? Heaven Canceller.
Oh no, you're right.
Is Heaven Canceller a right-hand user? Because if he is, then it would explain how he's able to use his crazy doctor skills on Toma. Because we know that right-hand powers, excluding the Holy Right, do work on Imagine Breaker or bypass it. Because Will Rejector countered Imagine Breaker pretty hard. So
I would be willing to entertain the idea that Heaven Canceller has some crazy abilities, if it wasn't for like GT9 kind of showing how he goes about treating his patients.
Yeah, I guess so. We did get more of an insight into how he does that, I guess. But at the same time, like he knows Alistair. He was in England at the time. Alistair was being hunted down for whatever reason. We don't know like I mean, was he stated to be Japanese? I think maybe, but yeah, if he is Japanese, then why the fuck is he? Yeah, because he must be, because he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to take Alistair back to my homeland. So he's Japanese. He's a Japanese man in England in 1947. Like, what the fuck is he doing there? Like, legit. What is he doing there? Is he on holiday or something?
Maybe when going through records, there will be some random person that was in England during that time that would explain everything, all the secrets.
Yeah, we just need to Google Japanese followers of Alistair on Google, and I'm sure nothing would come up. But yeah, I mean,
maybe he's Alistair's son. You never know.
Alistair Ataturk? That'd be a crazy plot twist. Yeah, if he's Alistair, I would. Yeah, it'd be cool if they introduced Alistair Ataturk, because we know about the daughters, but we don't know. We've not even been told in Index that he has a son. So yeah,
You get the son like after the fact, like very very late. So
yeah,
if that's even canon in the Toaru world, because he kind of in his late life changed his way and didn't want to be a drug addicted sex magician anymore.
yeah. I think that was like moments. Well, on the build up to his death, where his body basically began to shut down. But I think like even after the Second World War, he was still having drug infested sex magic ritual party cult shit. Because I know that the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, he actually was involved in like one of the Thelema cult organizations, like the AA or Otto. Like he was involved in that after the Second World War. When Alistair was, 2 years later he would die. So
Alistair, crazy man.
yeah, it makes you think like, would Kamachi ever like introduce Scientology in Index? Because I think that would be so funny just to see that.
The alien invasion arc in Index.
Yeah, I mean that could be set up, because we had like the whole space thing, space travel in late NT, because the Windless building is a spaceship. So what was Alistair trying to cook with that? Why did he want to go to space? Is he trying to find like another planet which has like great ley lines or something? Or yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'll encounter Lord Xenu in space.
Oh boy,
funny if you
can't
did.
wait for the lolly alien waifu.
That
Oh boy. No, but yeah, literally, if there is like a space arc ever in Index, I pray to God, I hope it doesn't evolve into like Dragon Ball or late Naruto, Boruto type.
We don't need space. We don't need space at all.
Oh, yeah, we don't need it. I know.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
don't you think we? Yeah, sorry.
No, yeah, I'm just saying. I really hope we just don't get aliens invading Earth and they're just like fucking Saiyans or Otsukis, or how the fuck do you say that clan name?
There are
From
plenty
Naruto.
of cultures left on Earth for Kamachi to use. I think he's not running out of ideas soon.
Yeah, true.
You know. Yeah, I was gonna say like I feel like secret chiefs are alien enough.
Yeah, secret chiefs. Oh.
Yeah, that's a good point, because Iwaz is described as a terrestrial. I can't speak today. Too many big words.
But for me, it seems like what I would think if they did do space, and this is just a personal preference. I don't know if it's a popular opinion at all, but if it is going to be anything with space, let it be something involving the moon and probably some magical group or something who just for some reason colonized the moon and they were just hiding there for their secret attack on Earth or something like that. Let
That's
it
the
involve
Naruto movie.
Oh,
It's
no.
an art movie, yeah, literally.
Yeah, I mean the witch is like the moon. You get draw power from the moon, like Aradia.
I mean, I don't think anything's on the moon because Often has kind of crashed the moon to Earth before, so.
Hey yo.
No, that is an NT9. Like Often has just like crashed the moon to Earth.
There is also like this one
yeah.
girl on an Academy City satellite that just lives in space.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
the It lives in a
Kamanaka-
satellite.
Is
Or
that
a
her name?
space station.
Kamanaka Kaguya?
Yeah.
This tree diagram that played some roles, so I suppose space ain't totally out there, though that wreckage should come back to Earth.
Well, the Index movie was also kind of taking place in space at the end. But I'd rather like stay on Earth in Index.
Yeah, I think we're at the point in
Mm.
Index where we already have phase destroying magic. We don't need aliens. We already have phases. Why would they
Yeah.
ever bring in aliens when they're just gonna get negged by the magic gods?
It's true.
Like we already have higher orders of power. Secret chiefs, magic gods, transcendence. Unless the aliens are, I don't know, like stronger than the secret chiefs. That'd be kind of weird though.
Hmm.
Then again, we're getting to GT territory, so I don't know if we can
Yeah.
continue this.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We can reference it, but yeah, main topic. I do want to see like the flying saint at some point. The saint that flies around the world. I just think that's a funny idea that I've always been curious about.
Yeah,
What's
and
the
I
deal?
think there's also another Kanzaki saint, like Kanzaki Kigomi was her name.
Oh yeah. I think so.
I don't know. I don't know who she is though.
I'd like to
No
see
one
more
knows.
saints. There are a lot, and we don't know a lot.
Okay, so Kanzaki Kigomi is the only successful example of a standard saint with spiritual item assisted. Interesting.
Hmm.
Not sure where that's from. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly where.
As for the windowless building being like a spaceship, like that's a very interesting like concept or thing if so. And here's how I could see it being more realistic outside of aliens. If for whatever reason, and this would definitely be a point of no return or something hard to return from, and again he returned from office, so I don't know. Kamachi, this is to you, I guess. If it was meant to be similar to like Noah's Ark, so if there was some massive Armageddon event on the Earth, and that had to be the only way to escape said event, so it's like a escape ship for the VIPs of science, I guess, or something like that. I could see in a weird way it being used for that. But I definitely don't think it would be great if it like introduced an external threat from outside the world, unless they wanted to lean super far into the science side. And obviously it's Index, so it's more meant to be the magic side. I mean, unless they really want to go hard on like sci-fi to rebalance it out. So I don't know. I haven't read Genesis, so I don't know, but I'm just saying that's the direction I could see it going. That I think could be based on a little bit of religion.
You
With
should get to
Noah's Ark.
you should get to New Testament 18, Void.
New Testament 18, huh? Well,
Yeah,
apparently it's not that hard for me to read, since I multitask. So,
Oh really? Wow.
yeah, I'm already through the first chapter of 11, which I know ain't saying much, but the fact I could just have that in the background, yeah, I think I'll get through New Testament by the next stream. Maybe even into some
So in a month.
me not speaking well. Yeah, probably.
Oh,
And like enter into Genesis Testament, which I didn't know Platinum Wings was New Testament. So there's just a ton of peak late New Testament.
Yeah, they haven't touched on that much GT stuff yet in what do you call it? In IF. I think the
Yeah.
only
Yeah,
one
true.
that was the green accelerator, the fast green accelerator.
Yeah, Chairman
Mm.
Accelerator.
Yeah.
God, he sucks. But I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
he's
hey,
tough.
that's-
He's tough. He is tough. He needs
He
to
is like a
stop.
tank.
No, he still sucks.
He doesn't. Nah, he doesn't fulfill the role. Okay, honestly, game wise, only good accelerator that's like meta Platinum Wing Accelerator, best
Kinda.
yellow physical. Straight
Yeah,
up.
that-
No,
that's-
he bodies. He's up there with Birdway.
Nah, I think Birdway's still better though. Birdway's team is better.
For single target.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Sorry, Al, we're
Fair
talking
enough.
about Imaginary Fest now.
Nah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, we should
okay.
stop talking about Imaginary Fest. Like no one understands what we're talking about. Yeah, but go ahead, play Imaginary Fest, guys, and please spend money so we can give money to Square Enix.
Yo,
So they can pump more money to Fate Go.
Well, they're not the same company.
Them.
Look, if it
For more
supports
collabs.
the anime, please, please. I doubt
Well,
it does, but like,
Who knows? It might go into a new opening this year for the birthday anniversary thing for it in summer.
Oh yeah, especially
Or-
with the 20th year stuff too.
Yeah, that'd be nice. New opening would be nice, or maybe I don't know. Just gonna go towards more collabs because they love collabs because they want you to make a full non-index team because they hate index and they don't like having too many New Testament characters or GT characters.
Well, I
hey,
mean-
I've said it. Roberto needs a fast unit. All right, get
Oh,
Roberto.
What
a
assist
fast unit,
or
they
with
do that.
with a shotgun?
Void. You'll be
Whichever is
very
cooler.
pleased in the
A
upcoming
battle
month.
unit, maybe. Well, I know that we have Idol Toma coming up, but I don't know outside of that, and that's because the voting thing happened.
I think we're not allowed to talk about the leaks, but yeah, well,
But
you
that's
know.
not a leak. It was literally talked about like a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
voted.
My bad. I don't so much not a leak. But yeah, I was
I
talking
know
about
what's
something
cooking
else.
here.
I'll just say you'll be happy soon. You'll be happy.
This is funny.
Oh, I'm sure.
No comment, guys. No
No
comment.
comment. Well, what did I say? Nothing. Square Enix, Kamachi. I know nothing. I know nothing, bro.
Hey, let's get Final Fantasy and Imaginary Fest. Come on.
Oh, did you see the viral Final Fantasy clip? Like the leaked clip from Rebirth?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, then yes.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
gotta
Tifa?
say, bro,
And-
that was pretty juicy. I gotta say. I wouldn't mind a Tifa
Dear
in
me.
Imaginary Fest. You know, that was pretty juicy. Same company too. So
What comes after that, huh? Like, I don't know. What's the craziest series to have a collab with Toaru, you think?
Ragnarok.
no, you know,
Halo moment?
Halo. I was so surprised they did Full Metal Alchemist. Like that came out of left field.
Yeah. And I guess Neo Automata as well, because it's like, yeah, I wouldn't have
but Nier
thought.
Automata, they were from both Square Enix.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, because it's like a video game and it's like really popular. I don't know. I just couldn't like imagine. Because Full Metal Alchemist is like purely anime in terms of. I know it's got like video games, but in terms of it being like a series and manga that could fit in, but for like Nier Automata, okay, it's anime style, but it's video game origin. So
I mean, they're...
Okay, I don't know about the one that I'm most surprised about, but the one that I'm the most glad exists is definitely the Jurarara collab, because Jurarara is like a top 10 thing for me, and I was so surprised when Jurarara dropped with as a collab for Toaru. Like, I'm not surprised. I know they collabed a lot in the past in terms of novels. Ryogo wrote a few things for Toaru as well, but I'm surprised that they got the Jurarara stuff in game.
I was most caught off guard with Overlord because it was another one of those moments. Index just loves to do stuff that lines up perfectly with my life. Where at that time I was getting back into Overlord and purchasing the light novels, and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, it's in the game now," and I'm like, "These guys, they know."
spooky.
Yeah.
There are some like really spooky things that happen. Like you're like, how is this just a coincidence? Because it was like me the other day when I was like in this anime store in London, and then they just start playing that Index free openings, and I'm like, What are the chances of this happening? What are the chances of this? What the hell? Spit me out.
I was
Okay.
surprised to see that they sold the omnibus actually.
Yeah, because they had a lot of like collector's edition volumes, and I was like, oh, I had a thought in my head. I wonder if they have the omnibus, and then I bumped into it. I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna do a video calling it thick. Damn, that omnibusy be thick, because that is the most cursed thing I can think of. But I think it's hilarious.
I am truly excited in 10 years when we get New Testament omnibus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's gonna be like a different color. Like, I don't know, would it be cool in black maybe, or I'm not sure.
Yeah,
to contrast
that's
from, like,
exactly what I was thinking. Like a more red, black, still with some gold hues in there. To just invert it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Did someone of you read the NT1 from Gem Press?
Oh, I haven't fully reread it yet, but I did buy it, and I have looked through it a little bit, seeing how like the picture or the drawings like coming out of the book is interesting. But I have a little bit, and I think it's good. Definitely more digestible and readable than the omnibus. I love the omnibus, but bro, using that on your lap is not it.
Yeah, literally, you have to literally treat it like an actual holy book, like a Quran or a Bible or Torah or something, or whatever holy book you read. Because yeah, it's just way too big. You gotta like put it down like a desk. You have to like get a setup just to like read it. And you gotta treat it like really carefully. Yeah, it's not easy, but I think from that point alone, I think it's kind of funny because it makes you like respect the book in a way.
I mean, yeah.
Price. You don't want it to be damaged at all.
No.
Wait, does this mean that Index it could like not only memorize that, but like start quoting the lines in every conversation? Like randomly it gets a character quote, like I don't know, in like OT11 or something. This random line just pops in every conversation, just saying like this or that.
Pretty much, actually.
That's why I wanted to bring up NT1, the translation, is because the OT translation had some very cursed words in them. So
Yeah.
where they fix are they still called the soul arm.
Interesting.
Yo, I have a question. Who do you guys think will be the 5th anniversary unit for Imaginary Fest? So, could be someone you just want to see
Ooh.
in anime art style. Because I have no idea, honestly. I have no clue.
Well, I just want to see Sam Mathers in the game. Like
Yeah.
he'll make me play the game again. I want
do
Sam on my
too.
team.
But I don't think he can like carry an entire anniversary.
Yeah,
I
that's true.
know that they like to do heavy hitters for anniversary, because last anniversary was Karanzan and Dragon Shell
Dragon
Toma,
Shell.
and then before that, I don't remember, but I know it was some heavy hitters, and they even throw some heavy hitters in like the 0.5 anniversaries.
Well, yeah, not wings.
Yeah, what a crazy 0.5 anniversary unit.
Yep.
I figure they're gonna want to do some Genesis Testament reps here soon. I would be genuinely surprised if they don't. Like Chairman Acel, and that was what 3.5 or something. So that's been a while. So I could definitely see them doing some Genesis Testament units. As far as what I want, I mean, Magical Girl Index is on the table, so
That's for part 2, though.
yeah, but it's still during it. If I feel anything that I want, I just want my Roberto. Honestly, like I don't care. Magical Girl Roberto, sure.
You know,
Damn, that'd be cursed.
I think they're gonna do something unique because it's the 5th year anniversary, right? I think they're gonna release the first duo unit, and I think it's gonna be Accelerator and Toma from New Testament 21.
Oh, Are we taken out of the book of
Yeah, we're
Holy fuck.
theory crafting here.
Because I know
Yeah.
dual units were a thing in the other gacha game that I played. I don't remember its name, but they were absolutely broken. So if they do dual units and it's anything close to that, oh boy.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, that
10 out of 10. Going all in. I mean, I've
Do you
always...
think they would-
Sorry.
Do you think they would do Fish Eggs Toma?
Maybe, but I feel like they might save fish eggs for even later, I think.
they
'Cause I
do
feel like-
really love Toma, so I mean, who can say?
Because I feel like
Actually-
it's the 5th year, so they need to switch up the format, something. They need something fresh. So, I don't know.
Okay, so I don't think this needs to be an anniversary unit, but I do want them to add another level 6 shift Makoto. That's the later stages. They're different enough to, I believe, warrant a new unit. Of course, you don't really see like a new animation with it, but they took creative liberties with like Gungnir exploding on Birdway, so I think you can make a 5.3 Makoto, and that's one that I actually do want. Will he do it? Probably not, but I can still hope.
True. They could. Also, for the people saying GT9, I don't know. I feel like it's way too early for GT9. I think they're still saving that up. I don't think they want to use...
Just come out like
Yeah.
not that long ago. I don't think they're gonna do any of the stuff currently coming out. I definitely think that's too new. If we do Genesis Testament, I don't think it'd go past volume 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, I don't think either. Maybe they might do Anna Sprangle. Anna might
Laser.
be a good pick. No, I think it's way too early for that. But yeah, I would love to see that actually. But I don't think so.
just
Yeah.
the new dragon form where the whole dragon's outside of Toma.
That'd be so crazy though.
They make that an assist unit. They already made a dragon unit an assist. They from that one collab. They make it a darn assist. I can already feel it.
Oh man, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be the tag unit. Like it's gonna be Accelerator and Toma. That's one of the reasons I love New Testament 21 as much as I do too. Because like even regardless of the emotional side of it, it still probably has the most hype factor ever. Toma and Accelerator fighting together, like not together as in like they're in the same area, in a similar cause, but like when they're side by side, it's crazy.
I mean, that's actually what I think was so cool about. I don't remember the volume, but it was the one where like Full Dark Matter Kakine appeared in, where there was just all these fights going on in the same like intersection or bridge thing, just on different floors. And
Yeah, that's
that
like New Testament
really
6.
cool for sure.
New Testament 6. Yeah.
More stuff like that. Heck yeah, where it's just a ton of different fights in the similar-ish area, but it's separated enough that they don't necessarily interfere. Aside from like you see, well, this bridge cumbrel's here, or something like that. That definitely makes me excited going forward.
Yeah. You know, there's still so much to New Testament they could do too, though, for the anniversary, I think. Oh, Mathers. How is Mathers not in the game yet? That's crazy.
I don't know. Also, how does my boy Thor only have 3 units? This is so sad.
Well,
Doesn't need
Thor only
more.
appeared in the volume.
Yeah.
Thor's just
There's only so much you can do with him.
We have Almighty Thor. We have the Diffusion Blade Thor.
By the way, guys, and people on stream, we're going to do a Q&A. So, yeah, I didn't do one on the last stream for Toaru Talk, but we're going to do them now because I think people want to see Q&As. So, if you have a question you want to ask me or anyone here or all of us, then please drop it in the chat and we will get to you in a few minutes, hopefully.
Are Toaru novels usually consistent?
In what way?
Yeah, that was. Often it just says Aeon the Rizzler. Just out of the blue, out of context. Welcome. Good to see you here. All right, yeah, we'll answer Mr. White's question, even though that was before did the Q&A call. Yeah, it depends. Consistent in terms of what? Consistent in terms of quality, or
What?
consistent as in release date, or I mean, there's different kinds of consistency.
Honestly, regardless of what kind of consistent, I think the answer is no.
Yeah,
Not
that's my
really.
answer. The answer is no, regardless.
I do not believe that it is very consistent in like any way.
I mean, I think all Toaru fans have accepted that Toaru is like the most inconsistent series at times.
I mean, it has the North and the South Pole, like being traveled between, and basically each volume. You could have a major arc and then immediately go back to slice of life. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I guess you don't really. I mean, you can expect certain things like, oh, no major characters are gonna die, and if they do, then it's gonna get reversaled. You can expect that, but yeah, in terms of the substance or the theme of the volume, I guess you're definitely gonna be surprised about what could and will happen.
Yeah. Okay. We got if NT anime happens, how do you think how many novels do you think they would adapt in the first season?
10.
10?
Yeah, they're not gonna waste that money from NT 8 to 10.
You know, I talked with Aeon about this before, but I wanted to do like a stream where we talked about our ideal like NC adaptation, and like I can definitely see them doing, realistically they would do like 7 volumes in the first season, to me.
Still,
That's a very optimistic estimate.
Bro, I mean, they did 8.
To at least, like obviously that's the case, not gonna happen. But I would like the first volume to at least get 3 episodes, or maybe 2. But I want enough for New Testament 1 to cook.
I think New Testament 1 needs 4, actually.
Yeah, just let the dread of Toma missing just be there for the animes, so they're like,
Yeah.
well, I guess Old Testament ruined that, but hey, still.
When you look at all the NT, both NT 2 and 5 are very short volumes. So they could probably get some further when they just rush these 2 arcs.
I don't want them to rush NT5 though. I think NT5's brilliant.
You think they're gonna do like an NT2 where it's just 200 pages of magic being explained?
Well, I said NT5, not NT2. I think they will definitely do something with NT2 to cut it down to size. NT5 though, I don't know if they can really skimp out on the production for NT5 because of just how important it is to set up NT6. So,
Yeah, as for me, I mean, I have like an ideal number in my head. Preferably, I just want him to do like all of NT in just like one season. I don't mean like cut it down to like a 24, 26 episode season, like the earlier seasons or whatever. Well, no, I'd just like it to do the entire thing and just give it all the time it needs. But if you're talking about like a 24 episode season, then yeah, I don't know, first 6 volumes like in next season 1, I guess. Well, then it would kind of end on a weird point. But I guess so did Index season 1. It's tough. JC staff and Kadokawa, they do whatever the hell they want. And we don't have much to say.
Ending on 8 could at least give them like a good cliffhanger for potential season 5.
Yeah, I suppose that could work.
And so season
Anyway.
5 starts off with Agitate Halation and loses all of its viewership in one go.
They'd be like, "What? Where's Tomo? Come, why are we focused on Motoharu?"
No, I think
it's... Oh, go
no.
ahead.
Continue, please.
Okay.
You can continue.
I was just gonna say, I think it's early on that it wouldn't go well as like an endpoint of 24 episodes, just because it would be sort of dragged out and probably feel filler to some people. But I do think a good cliffhanger point is like NT3 is a good stopping point. I don't necessarily think it's a good bridging point between seasons. I just know that it's a good place because once you get to NT4, it's kind of like a mini reset of sorts.
Hmm.
I don't know. I
Anyway,
feel like NT6 is a good stopping point.
We'll move on to the next question. It's taken quite a bit of time on this. Yeah, Ben Misaka, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Still haven't started Genesis Testament yet. Mind if I take another year off? What do you mean? You need to start it. It's good. I mean, at least it is now. Took a while to get cooking, but yeah. But sometimes, yeah, I guess you need to recharge your batteries if you don't want to be in this endless cycle of index volumes. I quite like it, but I know some people take breaks between volumes or series and that's fair enough. I think you just need to find out what works for you. Okay, I don't think anyone else can really comment on that. Who's next? Is it Dario? Yeah, Dario. I've already asked this in the Discord, but Toma's got finance problems, right? Why not sell his right arm? They fetch pretty good price, and it can regrow anytime, unless it invisible thing is chill with it. Yeah, I don't think he like. I think Toma would be grossed out, or he wouldn't like people to keep hold of his arm, even though Shoko did it in NT22. Yeah, I don't think he'd like that, but
Also illegal.
yeah, true. You get arrested.
Since when did Toma care about legal illegal?
In GT, he doesn't even want to steal a drink. He'd rather pay for it.
Ah, I guess. I mean, to be fair, we do know who is the law right now in GT, so yeah, maybe he might care a bit more.
Not judgment, I'm sure.
Not judgment. No, they're still useless.
Anti-skill can be useless at times. Yeah. All right, random guy blank. How do you think the Railgun would react to Tesso's character shift in GT5? So, okay, this is kind of spoilery.
You want to answer this one?
Not... Yeah. I can... Oh, you want to answer it?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I can answer it. Yeah, I mean, I think they'd be pretty shocked. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. I don't think they'd be like, oh yeah, this is completely normal. And yeah, I think maybe like they try like talk to her, question her a bit, and be like, what the hell's going on with you? And probably once they realise that she's gone completely psycho mode and because of the reaction from Operation Handcuffs, I think, yeah, Kuroko and Misaka would try and stop her. I think Misaka would have a pretty easy time with her. So would Kuroko, to be fair. I don't think they handle her pretty well. Then Ueharu and Sato would just like watch. Be just in shock. And then they just put her in the jail.
You know, the Rail Gang is so funny to me. Like in a series that has so many messed up things going on, we just have this group of 4 just girls just like chilling, occasionally getting into a bit of that underside, but you know, when you're just a Railgun only, you're not exposed to like the true dark side, you know. It's so
yeah,
funny.
I mean you get that kind of contrast even in Railgun Season 1 with like the dark side underneath the light, and I think that's like the point of like the slice of life moments in Railgun, because it kind of shows you not everything is sunshine and rainbows underneath when it might appear that way on the surface.
Yeah.
Because it makes it look like Academy City is a great place to live when it's not. And I think that's an overall theme of the series, like kind of going back to the
It is.
Musical Network stuff, that things are never as they appear on the surface. And I think that's the trap a lot of anime onlys get into. They don't question things, they just see weird shit happen on the surface, like, oh, why is there 10,032 clones, or
Right.
why is Academy City like this, or why is Terma constantly getting in fights, or whatever. Or like why is Academy City trying to summon angels? They just kind of like accept it and they don't think too much about it.
You know, it's crazy how like the Rail Gang, they've met Toma like a few times now at least, right? And they're just like, they have no clue that he is the person, the central figure of Academy City. Like they just have no clue. Like no one has a clue.
Yeah.
They're just
True.
like, he's just level 0, and he's just like, nope. He's not just level 0. In fact, he is the reason why probably some of your friends got beaten up in some back alleys.
Honestly, sorry to interrupt, but when it comes to that whole concept and stuff, something really cool that I think they could do with that is sort of similar how, you know, everyone lives in your own bubble, and that sort of shows that, and you just, you know, you live on the surface not having anything deeper. We all know that there is some really big arcs that you kind of can't ignore, and they do come to the surface, and World War III is of course one of those. I wish that if we get more stuff from their point of view, that they hit those major arcs, so that way you finally see like the impact on the, I guess you could say, average life that these massive scale events have to gain that new perspective. I think that could be really, really cool, showing like that even the average people have to start thinking about the bigger things, the more, you know, grandiose things. And
Yeah.
I think World War III is a good starting point there. But I think there's some other arcs in there that could go pretty hard with those other perspectives. Just, you know, show the Rail Gang, the end of the world with like, well, I guess they probably wouldn't tell the difference of Autheniss's world, but just something like that, where you start seeing the effects of some major arcs from a normal person's perspective.
You know, I wouldn't want to expose middle school girls to the end of the world and permanently traumatize them for life, so I don't know. But it'd be interesting when we get to World War III stuff in Railgun, because they're definitely going to have something to touch upon it, no?
I pray. I don't.
All right, we'll move on.
That. Yeah.
We'll move on to the next question. Oxymoron asks, is there any magic from any mythology religion you would like to see or see more of in Toaru?
Good one.
Anyone want to answer, or should I go?
You should go first.
Okay, so I touched on it before, but I think Scientology would be funny.
Yeah, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Flying spaghetti.
Yeah, I don't think Kamachi's brave enough to do Islam.
Yeah,
I
I was gonna say Islam, but you know, there is
Yeah.
a reason why we do not touch upon a certain religion in the Aeon of a series. Wait, is it?
Yeah, even though I think Islam is referenced like twice in Toaru, maybe, or once.
Oh really?
Like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think on the wiki it'll give you like the volume, but I can't remember it specifically. It's like a throwaway lore exposition statement, I think. But yeah, so I think it probably does exist in some capacity, but yeah, just exploring it is just a red flag because people will find it disrespectful, I imagine.
Chance will be.
Oh dear.
Oh dear.
It would be cool to see, but to be honest,
Oh
all
no.
Abrahamic religions are kind of similar.
Just a joke, guys. Just a joke. But yeah, what else? Is there some other weird cults that I'm not thinking of that'd be interesting? Oh yeah, let's see the Philema cults, like Otto and AA properly introduced, like more of Alistair's followers. That'd be cool.
I mean, they're just gonna be Golden Dawn 0.05.
Mm.
All right.
Yeah, I
don't
guess,
know.
but they're more stylized on Flamer. So that could have been an interesting contrast from like the Espers.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we already got Rosicrucian recently. I think we need to get back into more alchemy, just because Rosicrucian alchemy. There is definitely something there. We need to get back to alchemy, I think.
Alchemy is fun for sure. I think something that I do think, like, let's just say a religion that hasn't really been fully explored as much as I would love. I think it's Hinduism and Shiva to enter there. I don't foresee that fitting Toaru as well. That's just my own personal preference. But one I do think could fit is Shintoism. I mean, the setting is Japan, and I definitely think that they could probably lean heavier into that for sure. And, based on everything else, I do think it's realistically possible that we will start getting some Shinto at some point.
I mean, the Amakusa is a mixture of Christianity and Shinto, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not exactly,
That.
Yeah, they're a mixture of Shinto and Christianity, but obviously they're not, they're not the same.
Yeah, I would honestly just like to see more of that. And then, like I said, my own personal preference. They go to India for whatever reason. I don't care what reason. And just have Shiva make an appearance.
I mean, they had
Fanboy
Vijrayan.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Vijrayan was mentioned in GT7.
Ooh, maybe some spicy stuff soon after all.
Yeah, but they never, like, touch up on it again, so I have no clue. What else?
Greek or Babylonian stuff would be nice, like these older religions.
Babylonia.
Okay, next question. MRGGXD, what are your expectations to GT10? Yeah, without going too much into spoilers, because, New Testament stream. I expect, something important revolving around Index, the character. That'd be cool.
I have something to add to that. I think, no spoiler at all. This is the 20th anniversary volume, and I think it's probably one of, if not my most anticipated releases. And I expect it to very, very heavily pay homage to Old Testament 1, actually. So I think it's gonna just touch up a lot on Old Testament 1, and I guess it's gonna be like a checking point. So we know it's been a long while since Old Testament 1, and we're gonna see this volume's gonna show us, like, we're gonna reflect back on Old Testament 1 and everything that's happened. And this is not a spoiler, but it's a theory, but I might venture to say there might even be something regarding Toma's memories. Who knows? Just me, though.
Yeah, I know Void Hero is not up to date with GT, so you can't really comment, but Lucas, do you have any expectations without spoiling too much?
Yeah, I agree with what you said with Index. I hope she's gonna be, like, actually important in the volume and not just a side character.
Yeah, let's hope so, because while she has, like, had some scenes in GT, she's not been a major character, but I think that argument could be said for, like, a lot of the main heroines, like Mitsuko and Shokuho as well. So she's not the only one, but yeah, would be good.
Yeah, at least they got their time in
New
previous
Testament,
volumes.
yeah, true. Ben Mitsuko, I'm having a tough time for this upcoming year, so I'm just gonna read what I want to read until year's over. Sorry to hear that. Hope things improve for you. It's not been easy for a lot of people that I know. So, well, at least we all have Index to keep us happy and engaged. Definitely makes things easier.
Well, it's a joy for sure. Speak from experience on that one.
For sure. Everyone has their own demons and personal issues and things that happen in life that you can't control, but yeah. Index is always the thing that roughly stays the same. I know we were saying it's not consistent, but you get what I mean. You can always look forward to an index volume coming out, and it definitely makes a difference. Right Hand Lad, welcome to stream. If you had to live in Academy City, who would you want to be? Who would you want to be?
That's character-wise, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking I don't want to be... Well, you could say, oh, I want to be level 5 with the cool superpower and just be basically god in the city. At the same time, you've got to put up with a lot of crap and experimentation and people trying to kill you because people don't like level 5s. That's tough.
If someone answers they want to be Toma, then okay, cool. Because I definitely do not want to be Toma.
I would say like Sogita maybe because he can basically do whatever the hell he wants and he's a goofball. But at the same time, like I think like was it a Railgun editor or someone said that Sogita's actually got a dark past that no one knows about. Or am I making that up? I think I heard something like that. So we won't find that out unless he gets his own spin-off. God, yeah. I'd probably say Sugita, bearing on what we know so far, but if he does have like a messed up backstory, then probably not. Unless he can be like magician in Academy City, like style, just like chill and do the fuck whatever you want and not have to worry too much about people trying to kill you or experiment on you. Does that
can
count?
you change what you do in the story, or is it only, or like do you have?
I don't know.
Everything the character does.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not sure, but I think for making it difficult, we'll just say you are that character and play that role.
In Academy City only, huh?
Yeah, I guess that is the question. It gotta be city
Yeah.
only.
Definitely wouldn't want to be Alistair, just being sitting in a tube all day. That'd be
No,
horrible.
I'd rather die than be Alistair. I don't want to be.
that'd be horrible.
For like over.
And you just got like constant reminders of your life failures in a closed-off room.
That's
It's just depressing as hell.
That's
If you want
crazy.
If you want to play it safe, you just be a random level 3 or 4 Espas. You get free money, you get a cushion life. You don't really have to do anything too hard.
Yeah.
Be a Tokiwadai student, I guess.
Basic Tokiwadai bitch.
Yeah, I think if you're, I don't know. I feel like my answer might be weird. Maybe, yeah, it probably is weird. But I'd choose Heaven Canceller.
That's a lot of work though, because you got to look after Toma constantly.
Oh,
Well, yeah, but for one, I'm saving people. Two,
Yep.
I'm not
okay.
actively being tortured unless I don't know what Heaven Canceller's past. At least I'm not being tortured. And I okay, to be fair, my hairline is fucked. But at least I'm old by then, right? I had a lot to live for back in the days. Who knows? I might have been partying with Alistair in Britain. Like when he's depressed, I brought him some vodka or something, you know? Like it's like, yo, bro, you depressed? I saved your life, bro. Want to do some weed or something? I don't know. Back in the day, I don't know. Maybe. But
I think this is exclusively what's happening in Academy City. I don't know. I don't know if life outside the city counts, but at the same time, that's hilarious.
But Heaven Counselors right now. Like, what if? Like, imagine the story though. Building Academy City with Alistair, and we're just like every day smoking blunts while we build the city. Like, Alistair's just like, no, Alistair's just like, yo, bro, we need to save that for the students. Nah, bro, we're just gonna use it all. And just like chilling, vibing every day. Sounds pretty fun. And I get to save lives, so like win-win.
Oh god. Well, they do say marijuana has medical properties that are beneficial.
That is probably true.
Yeah. Heaven Counselor's just got a lot of weed stored in the hospital. I mean, he did say he didn't work in the hospital because it's District 7 and it's where Toma and Alistair is. It's because of the nurses. He said that. The only reason why he's there is the nurses. So you got a harem of hot nurses as well. So there you go. What a life.
True. Unfortunately, by then my hairline's kind of fucked, but it is what it is.
Dear me.
Okay, so I know that you can't really choose many characters without literally just going through the most BS stuff possible, especially a lot of the level 5s. So you're going to be having to go through some dark stuff. So if I'm going to go through the dark stuff anyways, I'm going to be my man Motoi. I mean, I already kind of want to get those skills anyways. You get a little bit of fun practicing magic. You get to hang out with the boys, including Toma. You get to make fun of him and say, "Hey, Kami." You get to fly on like stealth stuff and stuff. So you get the adventure. You get bodied here and there, but if you're gonna get bodied as the other characters anyways, you may as well have fun with it. So I think I'd be Motoi. I'd have some fun with it. Oh, and I get to hang out with the Accelerator too, I guess.
Who just want to suffer?
Having
I
fun to
suppose,
suffer.
If you're gonna suffer, you may as well suffer as the double agent. Oh god, he's a
Yeah,
double
it's
agent.
very
Fair.
hard. It's very hard to find a character who just like doesn't suffer at all. So I don't know.
The average
It's just the place
schoolgirl
where
girl.
you should send your kids for great education and cool powers. There's nothing shady about it. Yeah, it's
Like I was
really
gonna,
fine. Don't ask questions.
yeah, I was gonna say Tokiwadai bitch until you realize that they kind of get destroyed in New Testament 16, and they become like homeless for like 2 weeks.
They get a luxury vacation though.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
fair
go to
enough.
like yeah.
The Bali
enough.
is-
What's the name of the place? I forgot. Yeah.
Bali. But,
Bali,
but
yes.
Yeah, as an Indonesian, I've been to Bali like 20 times already, so I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, it is how it is. Oh, Tokiwadai door manager.
Just gonna beat up girls for free.
Kill girls for free, be lonely. That's about it.
Thinking those
Yeah, well,
guys,
she
like-
needs to find Toma, then she won't be lonely.
Oh yeah, so true. I just didn't want to choose like a lame answer, right? Like, sure, you could do Satan, but where's the fun in that? You don't get no cool powers. You don't get to be stylish. Okay, maybe you do get to be stylish, but I don't know. I wanted
Get
the
to-
more hype picks.
Cope and sieve over your power.
You know, if New Testament 9 didn't exist, my answer might have been Toma. But if you're telling me to get tortured for 1 billion years, I don't think I'd be up for that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Nah, you don't.
But
wanna be like-
Toma's the self-insert, guys. Don't you all want to be Toma? Life is so much fun. If you're Toma, you get a harem. You get
5 days.
get to save the world. Oh, it's amazing being Toma, right?
You
Right?
know, just having no memories. You don't remember your parents. Your parents, everything is kind
No,
of
remember, Toma's a self-insert. No.
True.
I
Everything's
mean,
good for Toma.
Master Chief's a self-insert, and I wouldn't want to be him either. So
yeah, that's fair. There's different kinds. I guess when people say he's a self-insert, it's like, oh, people want to be him because he gets a lot of female attention and that is a hero.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the most bitchless answer you can
no,
give.
but then if you pick a girl, then all the other girls are gonna kill you. So like, you don't even get to do that.
Well,
And
I
it's-
mean, at least you can still like not suffer, though.
Oh, and,
And
we're
it's
not even
female,
talking
it's female attention from a bunch of 14-year-old girls.
Oh yeah, true. 14-year-old girls, peak, bro, peak. He got the Biagio mindset,
Fuck's sake.
Bro, why not? In that case, why not just be Biagio? You literally have a boat filled with minors.
No,
Go
this
to
is Academy
Epstein
City
Island, bro.
characters. Academy
Okay, fair
City.
enough,
We're not talking about Biagio. Right.
Yo,
Anyway, we'll
yeah,
move
what
on. This has gone on long enough. Enough
hang on.
degeneracy.
What if Heaven Chancellor and Alistair also visited Epstein Island, bro?
Oh my God.
Crazy.
I mean, fucking. Abbey of Thelema was Epstein Island. No, Epstein, not Epstein. Epstein Island-esque. The Abbey of Thelema there. That was a bit sus, but
yeah,
Think
and
about
Abbey of
that.
Thelema and Epstein Island. That'd be crazy.
maybe that's what Epstein was cooking.
Maybe.
knows.
I
What
wouldn't
will
be
destroy
surprised,
the phases.
Anyway, enough about fucking Epstein and other twats.
though. My goat.
Bro, no.
I'm sorry. Okay.
God, cursed as fuck. JDF VA. Can you imagine if Toaru collab with Godzilla, considering the former is celebrating 20 years and the latter is celebrating 70 years? I mean, we had like the kaiju battle in Railgun T, so just have something like that.
I mean, Godzilla isn't an IP owned by Square Enix, is it?
I don't have a clue.
What you think is Square Enix owns everything? That's
Well,
Disney.
yeah,
They're not
Square
Disney.
Enix, no?
I don't think so. But as for my take, no, I don't really see it. I mean, as like a summoned monster, I guess, but I think they clash too heavily. I don't really think Godzilla's. It would be on the science side, if anything. It definitely wouldn't fit on the magic. But then again,
That'd be
it's
so funny though, having a Godzilla card in game.
We'll do like 3 more questions if there are any. Are we still doing Q&A? Yeah, for now. We'll also limit it to 1 question per person to make it fair. Random guy. Or did we have random guy blank before? I can't remember. Yeah, we did. Unless all the people asking questions are people who have already asked one already, maybe. Is anyone else who hasn't asked a question? Heaven Chancellor smokes? No. No, not that we know of.
I mean, I can answer the newest one from Mr. White's. Is it possible to read all Toaru novels in a year? They're on volume 4. And I would say yes, but it depends on if you want to take your time or if you want to be quick about it or what have you. But honestly, what I'm doing is I'm like having Microsoft David read it to me. Funny enough, New Testament at least. And I pretty much am doing that while I'm playing games, and I'm able to comprehend it that way. But even if you go out of your way to do it, they're not like absorbently long, I don't think. So you could probably get through a volume per week if you take it slow. And if you really want to get through it, you could probably get through a volume a day. That's as fast as I would do it, though. Any more than that, and you're just going to burn yourself out.
I mean, well, I'm probably different, but I'm able to read multiple volumes a day. Like, I just read 4 volumes yesterday, right? So it depends on how invested you are, really. I don't know about like the rate of your burnout. If you're really invested or really curious, and you have like an entire day free, like I did yesterday, you could just like spend the entire day reading, and you would probably get 2-3 volumes, 4 even.
Yeah, I know when I got through to New Testament 10, I think I did that in like a month. So, like half of New Testament in basically a month. So you could definitely do the whole series in a year for sure.
All right, there we go. I think we'll answer 1 question from one person who hasn't answered or asked something yet, and then we'll call it a day. I think he who likes cake hasn't asked one, so we'll answer that. Fuyama versus Alphanus, who's a better antagonist?
Ooh, spicy one. Anyone want to answer this one?
Hard to say because they're both really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's personal preference at the end of the day.
I think Fuyama is a better villain, but often is a better character.
That's fair.
My cat, she's the greatest antagonist. She's on my table.
Yeah, I honestly can't rank them. I don't know who I prefer more, honestly.
That's tough. I had to go. I think I had to go off on this, but it's not by a wide margin.
I think personally for me, I don't know. I think I like Artemis more for like the role she plays, but actual villain wise, Fuyama was a villain, and while yes, he did turn. It wasn't like Toma fully saved him, and it wasn't in depth, like as in depth. And he was definitely the climax villain of basically all of Old Testament, whereas Othinus was only half of New Testament, right? So because of that, I do feel like the better one villain wise, I do think is Fiamma. However, I think character wise, I am currently more intrigued by Othinus, but it's not by much. I do still like Fiamma a lot.
Cool. All right. There we go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and we will do another Toaru talk next month, which should be good. Don't know if we'll do GT or talk about our expectations of a New Testament anime. Depends what we want to do, like on the build up to GT10, I guess. Well, yeah, considering Void Hero and you haven't caught up with GT yet, probably just do a New Testament anime one, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, guys, if
plan
does that sound good?
on. Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just
Oh,
gonna
no.
say that I do plan on. Now that I know that I can multitask it, I do plan to read up to Genesis Testament. So depending on when the stream is, I may have caught up. We'll see.
Okay, yeah, just keep us updated then, so we know where to go on that. I think Ben Miska's done a super chat. Yeah. That hasn't come in on yet on my stream setup, but it'll pop up eventually. But I'll read it out now because we're about to close. When's and what's next podcast? Thanks for super chat.
Next month.
Yeah, well, if we're talking about this one, then next month. But I'm not sure if I'll do a Toaru podcast by then or not. Like, still need to. Yeah, the boys over there have not been responsive, but neither have I. To be fair, I need to follow up. But I'd want to do like a Misa one or do like a GT10.
I'd love to talk about Misa
expectations.
Misa.
I need to read
different opinions about Misa.
Yeah, well, the reason why I'd say that is because I need to like read the side story things that have come out recently, but I haven't done that yet. So
those ones.
Yeah, that's why I'd like to do them, plus like the entirety of the dynamic overall. Don't know why the super chat's not popped up yet, but yeah. What else was I gonna say? Yeah, if you're interested in like coming on one of these streams, then check out my Patreon. Link is in the description. Secret Chief role. If you would like to come on, there's only a limited amount of spaces, so yeah. Just let you know. And yeah, I don't know if the super chat will ever pop up. Maybe in 100 years' time. But yeah. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you coming on. Oh, there it is. Yay! It's finally appeared. Woo! Alright.
Let's go.
Alright, yeah, thanks, guys. Until next time. See you all. Say bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Evening. Well, actually, it's morning. Have a good day, everyone.